My friends, we are back, and in today's little video we're going to be talking about the first steps that I go through when building a brand. So let's do this. Today I'm going to focus on three areas. Now, the frame or the lens I'm going to do this through is if I was starting up a brand new business tomorrow. These are the three key areas I would work on. Now, whether you are working with clients, whether you are doing some free work for your friends, and you're allowed to do free work for your friends, it's all right. Or, building anything, the beautiful thing is these three areas are easily transferable into those areas. But I think it's also really good and really important to remember that we have to be doing these things on ourselves. So that is the frame I'm going to use today. So these are the three areas, all right? So the first thing I would do is my plan. The second thing I would do is my position. And the third thing I would do is my people, all right? So before we get into it, did you know that Post-it notes were an accident? Yeah, there's a story I read quite a long time ago now, so I'm not too sure if it's true, but what they were trying to do was create the strongest glue in the world, but what they actually ended up doing was creating one of the weakest glues, and what they did was they eventually figured out a way of how to use that particular glue and its uses, and Post-it notes were born. Do you know what I mean? So even out of your mistakes trying to achieve something else. Look at what Post-it did. I think they're one of the biggest companies in the world, selling the most products in the world. So there you go, just a little bit of random knowledge for you. So let's get back to it. Firstly, my plan, all right? So this is something that is so integral to any business, and it's something that I am so meticulous on when it comes to Made by James and doing the things that I'm doing. So I always have to have a plan. Now, there's a great book called Traction, which you can see on the right here. That is the kind of method or model I run within my business. But the premise of it is that there is this vision. Okay, so there's a 10-year vision, a 3-year plan, a 1-year goal, and then that 1-year goal is broken down into 90-day windows, and those 90-day windows have objectives and rocks that you have to achieve in them. But the theory is if you achieve the things you're supposed to do in 90 days, therefore you're going to be closer to your year goal, you're going to be closer to your 3-year target, then you're going to be closer to the direction that you want to be going in 10 years. Now, look, it's almost impossible to plan for 10 years, but I think it's really important to have some sort of idea of where you're going. So for me, right now, 10-year goal is in and around this idea of free design education for the world. That is my end target. So everything that I'm doing every single hour of every single day is getting me one little step closer towards that target, all right? But again, so much stuff can happen. There's so many variables that can happen. Like life can happen. 10 years is way too long, and technology is going to improve so much over that time. So the way we do stuff now is going to be very different from the way we do stuff in 2, 3, 5 years time. So just important to have that target. Now, what is more tangible and what is more grabbable is the 3-year picture. So revenue targets, like measurements, like what are the things like metric wise that I want to achieve? How much do I want my newsletter to have grown by? Like what is, like I said, my revenue target? How many courses would I want to have brought out? Like how many stages do I want to have spoken on? Like having a really good idea of these things, these numbers, and like I said, having like a measurement and a metric to it allows me to then break this down into a 1-year goal. So basically, let's say these are just random numbers, but let's say my 3-year target was 300,000. Do you know what I mean? My 1-year target would be 100,000 theoretically in simple maths because I'm dividing it by 3. So once I've got that 3-year picture, I'm dwindling it down and whittling it down into a 1-year goal. So 2024, 2025, 2026, these all have 1-year goals, okay? And then once I understand, again, the metrics and the things I want to measure within this particular year. Do you know what I mean? So at the beginning of this year, well, actually in November or December last year, I was already writing my 1-year goal for this year, and it had things like newsletter growth, it had revenue, it had the things I want to do, the things I want to build, all jotted down on a list. And what this does is this keeps me laser focused and stops me comparing my journey to other people's. It keeps me super focused. But a year is so long. A year is difficult to keep motivated with. So what you have to do is you have to break this 1-year goal down into these 90-day windows. And that is Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Each year is broken into 4 90-day windows. So what I do is I take my year plan and I whittle it down again into that 90-day window. Now, the reason 90-day windows are so good is because they're long enough to achieve a load of stuff, but they're short enough to stay interested. So what you put into that 90-day window is the most important 3 to 5 things that are going to move your business forward. That could be a new visual identity, that could be a new website, that could be a new sponsor, that could be 10 clients. Like whatever it is, you need to have an understanding of those things. And those 90-day window tasks, those rocks they're called, are the things that you go after. All right. I've done a whole free Go Get 'em course on this. It's in the link in the bio. I go into it in more detail, but check it out. Like, you have to have a plan. Like, there's no point going halfway up a ladder that isn't yours. Also, that maybe is a ladder you don't even want to climb. You have to have a plan of where you're going so you can stay on track. All right. So that is the plan. Secondly, position. My Bezzy buddy, Sasha Strauss, awesome human, said this once, and I repeat it as much as I can because I think it's incredibly powerful. If you do not position yourself, you will be positioned. And this is why positioning is so important. And these are 4 areas here in which will help you define your position. So where we play, why we play, who we play with, and what we play. So let's kind of break these down. These are in no particular order, but they just kind of give you an idea. So what we play. So this would be your services. These would be the products that you have. This would be the industry that you're in. Like, understanding all of these things are a part of your positioning, obviously. Where we play, do you know, like, are we online? Are we offline? Do we have a physical shop? Are we in other people's shops? Do we market ourselves online? Do we do a lot of print? Like, understanding our playground and where we're playing is an essential part of positioning, and like we can go into like deeper things, and all of these kind of coincide somewhat, but audience profiling and all the rest of it. You know, why we play. Do you know what I mean? This is your story. This is your mission. This is your vision. These are the things that help you start to differentiate. These are kind of your competitive advantage. Like, all of these things coming together help you define what makes you unique and what makes you stand out in the space that you're in and the industry that you're in. And then finally, who we play with. Now, audience, a deeper dive into kind of demographics, geographics, psychographics. All of these things are a really important thing to understand to some degree when it comes to positioning your brand and positioning your client's brand. So let's just go through those again. What we play, where we play, why we play, and who we play with. If you can have a semi-good understanding of those 4 things and keep building on them and keep working on them, you're going to have a really powerful positioning piece that will help you stay unique and will help you win in your industry. All right. And the reason I put air bunnies in is because, like, it's not about winning. It's about just staying in the game long enough and playing the game. Because if you're continuously in it and playing, you kind of win it. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't win all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible. It does a little bit of that. We all know that. Finally, my people. Now, this would be both an internal exercise and an external exercise. So Internally, if I was building a brand, even if I was a freelancer, I'd still need like accountants, and I'd still need probably a little help with a VA. I'd probably need, certain bits and pieces to help me kind of to spend more time doing the things I want to do and less time doing the things I don't want to do. But as with me now, Made by James, building a team, finding the right people for the right seats. Do you know what I mean? That is such an important thing when it comes to growing a brand, because you can't do it alone. It's impossible to do alone. You can get to a certain space, I would say, level's a better word, by yourself. But to go further, if that's what you want to do, you're going to have to find help, and you're going to have to build a team. And like I said, you have to build the right team, and you might have to go for a few stinkers to find your winners. All right, so always remember that, finding the right people for the right seats. There's a great book by Dan Sullivan, I think it's called Who, Not How. So make sure you read that for anybody who's looking to grow and scale their business right now. External. An audience full of buyers. There are so many people going nowhere quickly right now. They're building audiences full of people that are never going to buy from them. I mean, it's wild, isn't it? This virality of social media. And like I said, I'm not here to diss social media. I mean, I have my love affair and my hate affair with it. But I know it's a very, very powerful tool if used in the right ways. Okay, so just always remember this, like external, like going back to that positioning piece earlier, like really understanding who, like your services and your products and how they help people and why they matter and who they matter to. Do you know what I mean? Like this audience, this tribe, this community that you're looking to build or help your clients build or help your clients communicate with are essential to the survival of any brand. All right? So there you go, team. That was a goodie. Grab the freebie. I think there's a few down there. Absorb more knowledge and hit the subscribe.